The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories, share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we're doing an airport job and I've picked up a lovely lady. She's a teacher and she's got dual heritage, and we've just been talking about India amongst other things and cultures, and so we're just going to hopefully we can learn something today. Nice to have you here today.
Hi, nice to be here and be part of your podcast. I think this is my first ever podcast I've done.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
So tell us your English and Indian heritage.
Yeah, I am. So my mum is Indian and my dad is English.
And you partly brought up in India and also partly brought up in England.
Yeah, I think I've lived exactly half my life in both places now. So very, very mixed.
Okay. So they say when you live more years in one country than the other, that's when you become a full person of that nation. But I suppose you've got one up if you're actually in your blood.
Yeah.
So you're speaking about the difference in lifestyles. Because obviously you have helpers in India where only the super rich really have helpers here or here. So tell us a bit about that.
It's very different. I always feel like I live in so many different worlds, even just within London and my friendship groups. But in India, growing up, myself and all my friends and people I knew grew up with helpers in their homes and drivers taking them to school and things like that. And I went to an international school, so a lot of the people that I was friends with were from all over the world and from all kind of classes and places and economic backgrounds and races. But we all kind of had helpers, and I remember when I came to England for university, I went to university in Leeds. Everyone just could not understand. They thought I was like some princess, and I kept trying to explain that even if you went to India, you would be considered upper class and you would most likely have that help. And I came from being in Delhi yesterday and having my helper kind of do everything for me, pack my suitcase, to now coming home to London and I'm thinking, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to make my own coffee. Yeah, I mean, just little things. Also, I have an injury, so that adds to it. But yes, like everything. And my helper who is in India with me, she's been with me since I was like 6 years old. So really, she's like my family. She also lives with us. So it's a very, very kind of close yet confusing relationship.
You say they live with you. Mm-hmm. Do they live in like an outhouse section of or something? Yeah,
so I live in so it's just one. Usually most flats or houses in Delhi, in kind of a middle, more upper class area, will have what is traditionally known as servants' quarters. But so for example, in my building, it's like flats. I'm on the second floor, and then the floor above has like lots of rooms where everyone in the building's kind of staff lives. So she has a room there.
Above you? They live above you?
Yeah, above.
Really? I would have thought you'd have lived higher because...
Yeah, I suppose that's an interesting dynamic. It's kind of like the terrace, There's a terrace, and on the terrace there are rooms. It's not like a fully fledged floor.
Oh, okay. And so that's where all the clothes are dry and things like that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I used to live in Kenya.
Oh, nice.
And so they had servants.
Yeah.
A lot of people do, even as some people I look at quite poor.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get my head around it.
Yeah.
And then people told me off for buying a washing machine. They said I took somebody's job from me.
Right.
But my point was, why do I need a stranger to do something that a machine can do? I said, the stranger can go and find another job. And then I thought about it, and my conclusion is this. If I was married or had a partner, I may say, okay, we can have helpers, because that would be my wife's job to deal with all the hassle of food stealing and all this kind of thing. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not getting into that. But me as I am, I haven't got time.
I totally get that. And like, I think my dad, if he moved to India as a single English man, he would have really, really struggled to have help and to deal with all of that. Whereas having my mum, who was Indian there, it was just kind of normal and natural. But I do remember lots of like our relatives coming from England, even my grandma, like just feeling quite uncomfortable with the just idea and concept of it, and trying to get their head around it. So I can totally understand. I've had friends and people's families that have come and said, we're not going to have any help, like it's just strange, we don't want someone in our house all the time, etc. And then slowly they've kind of had maybe a cleaner a few days a week, and then they've become a live-in help. So I think it is a kind of difficult concept to wrap your head around, and it can feel a bit strange. But as you said, what's quite interesting is these people do really need jobs, and like India is so overpopulated that jobs are far and few between, and so many people's livelihoods depend on this, and so many people, you know, kind of grow up thinking this is what their job will be and are happy to do it. You know, like I know that my helper, who has been with me for so long, is like total family to me. You know, like I'm sure my mum will leave things for her in her will, like she is just as much family as anyone else. And I often think about her whole life as us. You know, she has her day off and whatever, but still she has one day off a week. But even yeah, even then, well, so she's unique because she has no family. She's like 60 years old, and she never got married, she doesn't have children, and like kind of all her family are back in the village. But on Sundays she goes to church. She's Christian from a tribe in eastern India, and that's kind of her life outside of being with us. But she's like my favorite person in the world, you know, like I guess last night I cried saying bye to her. So it's a kind of a confusing relationship, because of course she still does work for us, but at the same time I don't think it's treated in that way. And you know, people have cleaners here, for instance.
How do you deal with the security element?
I think my mum was like very trusting. I think people have lots of problems, and I hear problems of theft and all sorts of things, but I suppose you go through a process of choosing someone and making sure that you kind of trust them, and I got lucky in a sense, but also have to like strike a balance and have mutual respect, which I think some people don't have with their staff. Like they still can treat them like crap, and I think it's so important to treat them with the exact same respect. And you know, like she'll get upset with me, I'll get upset with her. It's not like there's no power dynamic to it.
When you see someone behaving like that, do you call them on it and say, listen, you shouldn't be talking to your helper like that?
I feel really uncomfortable, and I think I would say something, but it depends on the situation. You kind of don't really know their relationship. Like I scream at her like I scream at my mum, you know. It's a similar relationship, and I'm sure if someone saw me doing that, they would be shocked and find it extremely rude, because I have to remember that she still does work. Yeah, she's an elder and she works, but you know, she would do the same to me. And because I've grown up with her from, you know, the age of 6, it's confusing. But I think it's very important that you have mutual respect, and that trust builds, you know, and security comes with time. You just have to be careful.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.